Bringer of Rain Boxing here, folks, coming at you with another video. So today I want to talk about some comments made by Keith Thurman that, quite frankly, I believe need to be addressed, because a lot of people are taking what he's saying right now as factual, just basically parroting Keith Thurman, and I just don't think it's true. Now, Keith Thurman was a part of the panel group that covered the Fox press conference for the Pacman and Spence fight. I think it was last Saturday when that took place. And during the media scrum that followed, when people were allowed to do interviews with various press members, Keith Thurman went on record multiple times and talked about how he's backing Errol Spence to beat Manny Pacquiao. And I've seen plastered all over websites, boxing websites, that Keith Thurman is declaring Errol Spence to beat Manny Pacquiao, and Keith Thurman's picking Errol Spence to retire Manny. But if you actually take a deeper look into those interviews and look at what he's saying, he's actually giving credit to both guys. Now, he credits Errol Spence for having that long reach and being able to control fighters with that jab, but he credits Pacquiao's unorthodox style of jumping in and out and surprising you with his speed and power. As we all know, in that Thurman fight with Pacquiao, he was very much surprised after all that trash talk, saying how he was going to crucify Manny Pacquiao, and yeah, that definitely is not what took place on that night. But Keith Thurman, the more times I see him comment on this fight, I feel like there might be some bias against Manny Pacquiao for him. I think perhaps maybe Keith Thurman looks at that night in July of 2019 as the beginning of the downslide to his career in boxing, because, well, first of all, he hasn't fought since then, and second of all, he's more of just like he seems more comfortable as a Fox PBC analyst than a fighter. I mean, quite frankly, when I hear him talk about fighting again, he doesn't sound too interested. The fire doesn't sound like it's there in him, and I think that in some kind of way, Manny Pacquiao extinguished the flames in the belly of Keith Thurman. Ever since that night, the man has never seemed to really be quite the same psychologically, and it just seems like he's not really into boxing anymore. But anyway, it just seems like there could be some sour grapes on Keith Thurman's side. One other thing to note is someone actually asked him during the media scrum if he wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather, and he had a funny answer. He was like, Floyd Mayweather doesn't want to fight real fighters. He'd only fight me if I had my hands tied behind my back. And that's probably true at this point, as Floyd Mayweather isn't seemingly interested in fighting anyone that actually has a legitimate boxing record. But yeah, Keith Thurman, he also acknowledged that a lot of people are saying that he might be better than Errol Spence. He brought up the Danny Garcia interview where Danny Garcia talked about how Keith Thurman hits harder than Errol Spence. And he also referenced the interview that Freddie Roach had recently, where he claimed that Keith Thurman was a better all-around boxer. And he brings that up. He says that, Keith one-time Thurman is a legit fighter, and even Pacquiao's coach said that he'd be a tougher challenge than me. So basically, Keith Thurman is trying to insinuate that Manny Pacquiao took the easier fight by fighting Errol Spence, but also at the same time saying that Errol Spence will beat Manny Pacquiao. So I'm not really understanding the logic here from Keith Thurman. But one thing that people just have to do is I see a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans kind of like roasting the guy. Just give the man a break. I mean, his career could have arguably been ended by Manny Pacquiao. So there's probably some sour grapes on his part here, folks. But, he does bring up a good point about how he might be a better fighter than Errol Spence, because he talked about how he's a better all-around boxer. He can fight on his toes, he can be aggressive, he can counterpunch, and I think you saw all those different dimensions in the Pacquiao fight. And quite frankly, I have to agree with Keith. I think he has more overall wrinkles to his game than Errol Spence has. I mean, people are going to find out on the 21st that Errol Spence is not going to like being on his back foot trying to counter Manny Pacquiao. He's going to try to establish the alpha status in the ring at all time. And that's why I think that the fight is guaranteed fireworks. and why I think it might be actually some of the biggest action you'll see in a Pacquiao fight in a very, very long time. And if this were to be the last one, what a way to go out. But anyway, folks, today I believe is the 21st of July, leaving exactly one more month until the moment of truth, the night where Manny Pacquiao could cement his status as the GOAT of the boxing world, or if Errol Spence could be passed the torch. I think it'll be a very interesting fight, folks. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about the Keith Thurman comments. Is he sour? Is he biased against Manny? It seems like he is a little bit emotional whenever he comes up. You folks let me know what you think. Bringer of Rain here once again, checking out, guys.